Welcome to the Ice Guys, presented by the Hockey Podcast Network. Sunday, June the 19th, it is Ian Cameron with you, and we have ourselves, once again, a special guest today. Joining us, former pro hockey player for many years, Russian. Great to have, actually, some Russian flair on the show here for the, I think, for the first time, if I'm not mistaken. So thrilled to welcome Nikita Kashersky here to this edition of the Ice Guys. Nikita, welcome to the Ice Guys. What's up?
What's up, Ian? Thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to it. Let's have some fun.
Yeah, absolutely. It sounded
I
like
don't
it.
know about the Russian flair. I don't know about the Russian flair. How much flair I can bring, but
Do your best, and we'll see what we can do. Yeah, someone I mentioned actually that I had to do a show this morning, and you were going to be our guest. He says, "Hey, I remember him from the Manitoba Moose," so because he lives out in Manitoba. So there you go. Someone remembers you, Nikita. So talk about your pro hockey days. Talk about where you've been, where you played with, how you got into hockey, how you fell in love with the sport, where you played all these years, and the journey through the years in hockey for you.
I was a roller coaster, man. I mean, I grew up in Moscow, played in Dynamo system, and growing up, loved hockey right from the beginning. It's great. Love playing it. Practicing. Love playing outside. In Russia, we played outside a lot during the winter. And obviously, as a little kid, you always dreamed to be a pro. But uh, it was my brother who left to US, and my parents always kind of told me, stay in school, and my brother got in touch with a bunch of prep schools in US, and around 17 years old when I wasn't back in 2002, I went to a prep school in Maryland, Georgetown Prep. Played a couple of years there, junior, senior year, graduated, then played junior hockey in Walpole Stars in EJ, and then went on to play Norwich D3, Norwich University. 4 years there, played very good, and then got invited before my senior year. Got invited to the Washington Capitals development camp. Um, you know, Played pretty well out there. Played with a lot of guys who played NHL out there as well. And then I guess Jerry Bednar, actually head coach of Colorado Avalanche, he was South Carolina Stingrays head coach at the time, and he noticed me there at the camp. And then after finishing up my senior year, called Washington Capitals development guy and was like, "Hey, my season's over. What do I do next?" It's kind of clueless young guy, and he tells me, "Hey, I'll give you a call back. The South Carolina Stingrays coach was asking about you." And then, what do you know? 2 days later, Jared calls me and says he'd like to sign me, and here I go. I joined them probably like 15 or so games before the playoffs. Sorry. And we made the playoffs, and then made a unbelievable run, and we actually ended up winning Kelly Cup. And right away, that was, I mean, one of my favorite memories. Obviously, getting out of college right away, going to play pro. I made the cut for the roster, and did pretty well. I mean, Jared really trusted me throughout the whole playoffs. Played a big, pretty good role in the team out there, and we ended up winning. Though I didn't participate in Game 6 and Game 7 of the finals, my jaw was broken. Broke the jaw Game 5 in overtime, and while I was still
Bad
walking to
feeling.
the horrible, and I was still walking to the locker room with the trainer holding my jaw like that, and you could just hear the whole arena was packed, and you could just hear like the arena just kind of breathe out like, whoa. And I was like, what's that? And you could see the guys behind me walking into the locker room. The Alaska Aces scored the goal, and the team had to go back to Alaska for Game 6 and 7. But unfortunately, I didn't travel, but the boys still won in Game 7. So and that was it. And then from there,
It just sucked
6
not to
more
be able to
years.
be part of that series, obviously, and it was nice to see them win. But it's like, God damn it, this had to happen to me.
Well, it's just, yeah, it sucked big time, because in the beginning, like, when you see a doctor first, he was like, all right, we'll just patch you up, a couple of screws and you're done. But then, he ended up doing MRI, and I guess I had a really bad break on this side. So they had to wire me shut for 8 weeks. So I couldn't play. And I had the decision, like Jared gave me a right to make a decision, if I go or not with the team. But I just, I didn't know how I was going to react with the pressure after surgery and everything, with like flying so much. I didn't want to be a liability. So I just decided to stay. So I don't regret it. Guys won. Came back, had a great summer celebration. It was awesome.
Oh, I know. Although the when you have a summer celebrating any kind of championship, you go wild, you go fucking crazy. That's right. You enjoy it. You get into it.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
seeing some of the videos and photos and pictures, and I think we're going to have someone from the team, from that ECHL team that just won the Kelly Cup, the Florida team, the Everblades. I
Oh
believe we're
yeah.
going to have someone from that team as long as the schedule works out, joining us before the end of the season. Yeah, they're doing some serious fucking partying. They're lit. Those
Oh,
those
I
guys
mean,
after winning so you talk about, hey, we go nuts for the NHL Stanley Cup. People work their fucking balls off and ass off in AHL, ECHL, SPHL, FPHL, all these other North American pro leagues over in Europe, whether it's Swedish league, German league, League One, League Two. There's 3 leagues in all of these countries as well. You win a championship, you have that camaraderie with your team, and you accomplish a goal as a family. You're going to have fun and indulge in it when the championship happens, and you're going to party no matter
oh
what
yeah,
league you play in.
definitely. I mean, it's so much goes into it, so emotions,
Yeah.
hard work, injuries, you do everything to win that. Once you're in the playoffs, it's like it's go time, and it's just a total different hockey, and it's a total different bonding between the players as well. You learn to trust each other much more. I mean, you just go for bat for anyone on the team,
Yeah.
and it's a tremendous experience. And to win something on any level, to win a championship on any level, it takes hard work, and it's awesome. It's a great feeling.
Exactly. Any league in this sport, which is a tough as fuck sport to win a championship.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, you've
oh
got
yeah,
it's
definitely.
worth it. It's worth it to celebrate, enjoy it, revel in it every moment you can. Yep.
Definitely. So after that, yeah, I played, 7 more years after that. I was in the American Hockey League with a few teams. I was with Hershey. I was with the Manitoba Moose, as you mentioned, and was for a little bit with Springfield, with the Springfield team, with the Edmonton Oilers. Yeah, they were under Edmonton Oilers, I believe, at the time. Then played back in the East Coast, kind of back and forth. Went for a year, went to the UK League. Yeah, spent a year there. We won a championship of the conference championship, which is celebrated there, and so it was a lot of fun too. Um, and then came back for again ECHL for a couple of more years, and that's it. I retired in 2016.
Right. So since then, what have you been up to for the last 6 years? How's retirement from hockey? That is, retirement living from hockey been?
It's been good actually. Can't complain. Not gonna lie. Everyone has a different transition, I'm sure. Mine was, I'd say, probably rather smooth. Even so, my last year, I was already, I already knew I was, gonna be probably retiring. So I kind of started doing the whole networking thing, and like resumes and stuff. And I believe you had um, I forgot his first name, but lead defenseman who's in the medical
Brian
business
Lee.
now,
Yeah, Brian Lee was with us
Brian
last
Lee.
Monday. Yep.
Exactly. So he's a good example of that. Just networking with guys, from your school and from hockey. I was on LinkedIn a lot, and I got into sales as well. I got into pharma sales and then biopharma sales. Still doing that, and it just it helped me a lot. It was just a quick transition, and it was crazy the way I got it. It was like through 7 different people, connected with one person on LinkedIn, connected me to the other, all hockey like fans who some of them watched me play, some didn't. And just hockey connects people. And one advice I can give is, yes, never lose connection with people, always stay humble, and good things will happen. And don't be afraid to ask for help, that's for sure. And I asked for help. I asked to connect me to some people in the business and sales and stuff, and they connected me to a couple of people, and there you go. I'm off to a professional world, to the real world, like we always like to say.
The working world, the roll up your
The
sleeves and get it
working.
the fuck done world. Yeah, exactly. Uh,
Exactly. And
in the
another
career.
player who got in is David Marshall. I played with David Marshall. He's a Cornipia grad, and he played pro in the American Hockey League for a while. He played together. We played at Reading Royals, and we stayed real good friends. And he's the one who retired, I think a year or two before me, and he got into the med sales as well. And he was the one who kind of encouraged me to, start working on the resume and all that stuff, and kind of started connecting. So, thanks to him, big shout out.
There you go. And that's nice. Like even for me with sports betting, someone opened the door for me. Someone helped me get to this point. I didn't just, I didn't just go seek it myself and get it myself. I had people help. I had people pulling strings, trying to, open the door for me, give me the opportunity here as a full-time handicapper and sports bettor. And now 10 years later, here I am. And I've got, multiple people to thank for that. So it's always someone willing to give you a helping hand, especially in the working world, the job market. And it's definitely, especially when they're good friends and they respect the work you do. They know what kind of person you are. They're willing to make that, help you out. So that's fantastic. And it's nice to have people like that. I know firsthand, personal experience, how it's nice to have people in your corner, right? Believing in you.
Oh yeah.
And it's absolutely nice to have that. There's no question. Before we get to talking NHL Stanley Cup final, and man, do we have a lot to talk about with that after last night's stunner of a beatdown by the Colorado Avalanche. But any kind of funny, memorable story or memorable moment from your hockey days, if you had one, what would it be?
I mean, championships, obviously.
Yeah.
Those are the most memorable ones. First one was, of course, a total difference maker. Had a great time in South Carolina after that. Charleston's a beautiful city. Made a lot of friends there. Still have friends, who played on that team, who decided to stay and live there. And that's, probably the greatest memory out there, in South Carolina, winning the first one.
Yeah, no doubt. And of course, those championship years, they'll stay with you forever. Any team, any sport, any league, you win a championship, you're friends with the people with your teammates on that team forever, probably linked together forever. It's like that Rick Astley song from the 80s, Dating Myself Now. Together forever and never to part. Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, see, I'm a karaoke magnet, so I just do random karaoke shit on this show sometimes. So be prepared for that. Don't be alarmed. Just embrace it and enjoy it.
I love it.
But
I
yeah.
love it. Reading was fun too. When we won the second one, Reading. Let's think about it. Like it was fun because the way the team was awesome. We had a blast. I had a couple of teams for Hershey that I played with there as well. And just coming back was awesome. We're coming back from California, and the fans were unbelievable. So that's they organized a bus for us, with obviously with some drinks and everything. We're on the way from Philly airport. Then they got police to escort our, it was like an NHL like type of experience, when the police escorting you all the way from Philly to Reading. Then we before entering the town, we stopped. There were fire trucks out there. A bunch of guys got on the fire trucks with a cop. It was huge. Like the whole city was there, and the parade was awesome. It was great. The city of Reading was awesome. They loved it, and we loved it as well. It's tremendous. It's great.
I've heard that, support for that team, has always been solid. Reading Royals in the East Coast Hockey League. It's one of the well-attended, well-attended teams. They get good local fan support. And actually, Ray Bryce, one of our guests on the show, plays Kalamazoo Wings right now in the ECHL in his home state of Michigan. And apparently their attendance figures have been a lot better than a lot of other teams in that league. So they're getting the fan support there as well. So it's definitely good to see. You got to support these teams. Yep. Got to support these teams. I mean, and especially after the pandemic, right? Which shut things down. And now people, it's not that they're more fearful. I think it's more, hey, it's taken them a while to realize, hey, life's getting back to normal now. And as a result, attendance figures at some of these lower level pro leagues, non-NHL, even the AHL. I saw a Springfield AHL game, playoff game, Nikita, just like a month ago. And it was the goal. It was the game where I saw a highlight where the goalie scored a goal. It was a big deal. It was all over Twitter. It was like Doc Emmerich from the 90s. Marty Brodeur, he scored a goal.
And he's jumping on the guys. Yeah.
And I still remember that call by Doc, a legendary call by him and a legendary career, of course. And this goalie for Springfield this year scored a goal. I swear they panned back and looked at the crowd. It was like a Halloween costume party. Everyone came dressed as empty seats. There was no one there. It was all. I'm like, geez, this team's in the playoffs, and that's the crowd they get. But
Yeah,
it's been tough. At AHL, ECHL, the FPHL, the smaller leagues, it's been tough at times for some of these cities and some of these teams to draw attendance.
uh,
Post pandemic, it's been difficult, and it makes you wonder how the fuck are they paying these players? How the fuck are
that
they making money?
yeah, it's tough. I mean, even before the pandemic, I mean, some of the teams would probably, I don't know how many teams would be, making any profit at all and stuff like that. Obviously, I'm not in the business, but sometimes when you're playing and some teams play at the arena that holds like 7,000, but there's barely 1,000 there, or 1,500 people or something like that at the games. And I'm sure, especially with the pandemic, I mean, kudos to them, if they survived, and they're trying to bring everyone back, together, all the fans in, and doing different promotions and stuff. I hope they do. I mean, it just brings people together, those events and hockey and everything. So, hopefully it'll be all normal soon.
Yeah, exactly. That promotions, maybe more marketing, all of that stuff's probably helping. Plus a little call to the local bank saying, "Hey, can I get a couple million loan here, please?" So, I'm sure that's going a long way too for these
Huh.
teams. I'm sure they've reached out to who in the banking world. I'm sure to help them out in these tough times. But we certainly hope all these teams survive and get back on their feet. I'm sure a lot of them are still trying to fight their way back to getting back on their feet after
Yeah.
the wiped out seasons too in the ECA, all these leagues. So it's been tough, but hopefully they all survive and make it through. Speaking of surviving and make it through, it sure as fuck doesn't look like the Tampa Bay Lightning are going to do that as of right now here in the
You
Stanley Cup
think?
final. Yeah, you're
You
going to find
think?
out. I'm pretty good with the segue, Nikita. Pretty good.
Ah, all
So
right.
there you go. It's been a staple of mine on this show. But yeah, let's get into game two. I mean, my goodness, that was an absolute beatdown. That was an annihilation. That was a whitewash from start to finish for the Colorado Avalanche last night. That is not a football game, ladies and gentlemen. That was a hockey game last night. 7-0 touchdown with the extra point for the Colorado Avalanche last night over the Tampa Bay Lightning. Look, Tampa Bay's been here before, down 2-0. We just saw it against the New York Rangers. But if you think coming back to beat the New York Rangers down 2-0 is the same thing as coming back down 2-0 against this juggernaut Colorado Avalanche team, you need your head examined. It's as simple as that. I mean, it's a completely different bottle of wax here, if you will. It's definitely a situation that is, I think, very dire for the Tampa Bay Lightning after what I saw last night. I mean, I thought in game one, other than the second period, they didn't play great. They were
No, not
outplayed
at
in the
all.
first. Yeah, they were outplayed in the first. They were outplayed in the third, especially in the latter half. And then, of course, Burakovsky gets the game winner in overtime in game one. And I thought, boy, there's room for improvement. They actually went fucking backward last night in a big way. They actually
Oh yeah.
played. It was 10 times worse. And here I was thinking, they have so much room for improvement. Cooper said it after game one, and it was just 10 times worse. You got to give Colorado credit. They have
Oh
made
yeah,
Victor
definitely.
Hedman, Nikita, they've made him look like Aki Berg from the Leafs way back in the day. This guy got shit on all the time, Leaf fans. Back in the day, Aki Berg in the playoffs. Every goal that went in, every mistake that was made, blame Aki Berg. Aki Berg turning the puck over.
Oh yeah, I
Aki Berg
remember that.
looking like a fucking pylon out there, having the forward just go around him and get to the net and score. They've made Victor Hedman look like that. Victor Hedman, Norris Trophy
I mean,
candidate, year in and
even he
year out.
can
And
have a night
Colorado's
off.
making him look
Even
like a stiff right now. It's unbelievable.
with this, I mean, speed kills. Not gonna lie, just you just watch them, and I watched them through the plays. I think the only team that could have beat Colorado was St. Louis, and I think, to my experience, I mean, how you beat the speed, you just pound them away, and I'm not sure that Tampa can do that. I'm not sure if they have that. I think St. Louis had that in them, and if not that game winner that they scored, the series clincher with like 5 6 seconds or something. You never know how that series would have went between St. Louis and Colorado, and I think that's the way you beat Colorado. That's the only thing. I mean, because their speed just, I mean, unbelievable how fast that team is, and the way they just don't give any room, to those plays. And if you look at the goals, that Nichushkin goal, second one, just a soft play, right there behind the play, I think was Palat. And against that team, you can't do those plays. I think you have to kind of simplify it versus them, and I think you go to town on them. That's it. That's the only way you beat a fast team, skilled team like that. That's at least I remember. If whenever I was on that kind of team, that's the way you wanted to play against us. Just go hard. Be a prick. Piss them off. But I think that's what Colorado is kind of doing to Tampa. Like if you look at it, they're just trying to piss off Kucherov, trying to get him off his game. He gets frustrated a lot, and they just go in 200% all the time. And Tampa has absolutely like no room out there, and they just didn't know what to do last game. And I kind of, like I told you, there's no proof for me. I didn't give you a text and stuff like that, but I kind of felt like that. Like I told you in the text, you have that proof that I told you that it was a must win for Tampa. Game one was a must win because Colorado was away for a bunch of days, and that was a chance for Tampa to take it. I thought so, that there was the only chance for them to win, get something out of the road trip. We'll see what's going to happen out at home. I mean, it's a must win again. And to have, I told you, game one was a must win for Tampa, and to have two must wins within 3 games in the Stanley Cup, playoffs, that's rough. That's a tough start for them.
That is absolutely rough, and you're right. You did say that in game one to me in our back and forth text, saying about the needed to win game one. I felt that way too because I thought with Colorado off the 9-day layoff, this was right for the picking a little bit for Colorado, and yet Colorado was the team that looked fresh as a daisy, and Tampa Bay looked completely stuck in mud in the first period. Now you didn't say before game 2 about Colorado blowing out Tampa Bay or really taking it to them, but I believe you. I'll go with that. Whatever you say, Nikita. I'm
Oh
sure
yeah.
you did.
Well, it happened before. I mean, in those games, and even they showed like the biggest in the Stanley Cup. But remember that game? I mean, I was always a huge Detroit Red Wings fan, and when they had the series in 2002 versus Colorado, when it was in Detroit, and it was a very important game. I think it was like Game 7 or Game 6, and everyone thought it was going to be a hard fought game, and I think Detroit like scored like 5 goals in the first period, and it was just like over right there. It was kind of seemed like that too. It was just wow, done. But one thing I don't know. I wanted to ask you if you heard or anything. Why was Vasilevsky still in the goal?
Oh, that I was going to get to that. That was
Okay.
one of my major bones of contention with John Cooper last night. John Cooper looked like a deer in the headlights last night. I'll be honest. I've got nothing but great things to say about him as a coach. He's done a phenomenal job, obviously, and he's still a great coach. But even Betty Crocker burns the odd cake. As Harry Neal once said. And even John Cooper has games where look, he gets out coached and he makes bad decisions and he makes no adjustments that don't work. And clearly, whatever he's been a king of adjustments and making good ones throughout these playoffs. Whatever fucking adjustments he made in game one, clearly, back to the drawing board, the whiteboard, or whatever the fuck he's using because they didn't work last night. It was absolutely, and then he's juggling the lines in the third period. I mean, he's just trying to get something going. They were already going to lose the game. But the most egregious decision he made was, as you said, why the fuck is he in the game in the third period when you're down 6-0? Why is Andrei Vasilevsky in there? Could
I
someone
don't.
explain that to me? Why is he in that game? This is a guy that's played a ton of hockey for you this year, last year, 2 years ago. What, you don't think he could use the rest? You give him the rest, give him the mental break, let him, sit there, recharge his batteries, get in the right frame of mind for game 3. The last thing he needs to be in there for is a third period to have the red light go on another bunch of times after it's already gone past him 6 times going into the third. They're very fortunate. Colorado did kind of ease up a little bit in the third. They only got the 1 goal from Makar, but that was absolutely absurd, Nikita, that he was in that hockey game in the third period. You put Brian
Yeah.
Elliott in there. You
Yeah.
put that simple
Exactly.
as that. The game's lost. You weren't coming back. Just give him a mental break. Give him a breather. Let him have a chance to just, catch his breath, calm down, get some much needed rest more than anything else before a Monday game 3, which will also include a long flight, going back from Colorado to Tampa Bay, basically pretty close, I would say just close, not West Coast, but still long travel, Colorado to Tampa. Giving him that rest would have been extremely beneficial. There's nothing good that can come from keeping Andre Vasilevsky in there in that third period last night. I could not believe the decision.
Um, that's the thing. I mean, we don't know what's going on in the locker room. I was talking to my friend as well about it, and I feel like maybe it was Vasilevsky decision. You
Did
never
Vasi
know.
hold Cooper at gunpoint or some shit in the second
No, it's
intermission?
not
Say, don't
that.
take
I
me out.
mean, but it's still like, I mean, Cooper could have probably came up to him, in the second period, or maybe he like kind of gave him a, like a little nod, and maybe Vasilevsky shook him off. You know what I mean? And same thing, I think might have happened in the locker room. Maybe he came up to him and was like, "Hey, how about, get a breather?" And Vasilevsky might have said, "No, I want to stay in." I think probably that's what happened, because I just, like you said, there's no reason for him to be in there,
Yeah.
in the third period, especially, and that's kind of, I feel like that's the only thing that could have stayed him, could have left him in the net, is that it was Vasilevsky decision, and Cooper didn't want
It's
to probably
possible.
fight it.
And I know
Yeah.
he probably respects Vasi a lot. Of course he has to. He's been amazing for him. He's been the wall. He's been the backbone behind these Stanley Cups and another run at a possible third, even though it's looking like it's in a bit of jeopardy right now. Vasi has been a big part of that. But you're the coach, man. You are the coach, John Cooper. You grab this situation by the nutsack and say, you know what? You're not starting in the third,
But
Vasi. I know
that's the
you want
thing.
to, but you're sitting down. We're resting you. Get the rest. We're down 6-0. There's nothing we can fucking accomplish putting you in there in the third period. That's what I say. I say, I'm the coach, you're the player. I've made this decision. It's final. That's what I would
Well,
do.
everyone's coaching different strategy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Someone, the Iron Fist. Someone's a little different. So I'm sure if Torts was right there on the bench, I'm sure Vasi's gone. Even in the second period. You know what I mean? Like, and
Yeah,
there's
polar
no,
opposite. Yeah, he'd be out early. Yeah. Yeah,
there's
with
no
Torts.
shaking
Oh,
off.
yeah. Oh, for
There's no
sure.
shaking off. No way. So, and Cooper probably didn't want to get into it with Vasi, if, like I said, if he asked him, and he said no chance. I think he might have just didn't want to get into it with him in this situation. Piss your starting goalie off,
Yeah.
and have that kind of battle in the playoffs in the Stanley Cup. Maybe he didn't want that. Everyone has a different strategy. Everyone's now very good with the psychological game and stuff like that, and everyone has their style. So, in my opinion, that's what I say. I think that was not Cooper's call. I think Cooper asked him, and he said no.
So who runs the team, Cooper or Vasilevsky? Yeah.
I don't know, but one thing I don't understand is how Kucherov plays more minutes than Stamkos. That's one, like,
Stamkos is another one. Stamkos is
I don't
coming
get
out in the
it.
press conference last night, Nikita, and saying, we have to man up. No, you have to man up too. You were invisible in the first two games, and you're the captain. So it's nice to throw stones and say, hey, we all need to man up. You've got to be a whole fucking lot better than you were in the first two games. I didn't like what I saw at all from him. You couldn't find him with a telescope, seriously, on the ice at times in the first two games in this series. And he's a great player. He's the captain. He's had a nice playoffs, but I'm sorry, no shots on goal in two games is not good for Steven Stamkos. I mean, no
Yeah,
shots at all in the first two games.
yeah, that's bad.
It's bad.
I mean,
It's horrible.
He's a shooter
Yeah.
too. I don't know what's going on out there. I mean, they should the power play. I mean, he should be just ripping it. I mean, look
In
at
the
Obi. I
box for
mean,
4
everyone
minutes
knows.
last night, a -2. That's a
Yeah,
gaudy stat line.
yeah.
-2, 4 PIMs, and no shots on goal. Great job, Steven. And you're going to throw stones saying we need to man up? No, you're the captain. You're the leader of this team. You've been dog shit in the first two games. Horse shit. Let's call it like we see it. He's been awful. You got to man up. If the general leads, the troops will follow. It's one of the best things I've ever heard Shaquille O'Neal say, Shaq, on the NBA broadcast for TNT. He's absolutely right. If the general leads, the troops will follow. General ain't leading right now. Stamkos looks overwhelmed too. The whole team does, but you're the captain of the team. You look overwhelmed. You're not generating jack shit right now offensively in two games against Colorado. He's got to be better. I know he said we need to man up, and I like that he's trying to rattle the team, wake them up, fire them up as he should. I like what he said. I like that he went this route, but he's got to look himself in the mirror. if they're going to buy into what you're saying, it's got to start with your performance. It's got to start with what you do on the ice. And what you do on the ice in game 3 and game 4, Nikita, for Stamkos, it better be a whole lot better than what we saw in the first 2 games, because that didn't look like Steven Stamkos. That looked like the ghost of Steven Stamkos.
Yeah, they got to come out, like I said, they got to come out flying and they got to come out hard. I mean, they got to come out hitting. No matter who you are, I understand, there's a style of game that you have and whatnot, but lay body in there and stuff like that. Like, I mean, it is what it is. It's a must win for them. And like I said, the only way you can, stop a fast team like that, and, it's just body, pound them. You pound them away, and St. Louis had that style of game, and that's the only way they can beat them right now. I mean, put a little behind them and pound their D. Their D are so skilled. They play great defense. They skate so well, and you just slow them down by pounding their body. And, I'm sure, Cooper's probably talking about that, and I'm sure the players themselves, know that. So, and they can't get frustrated, and that's what Colorado's been doing to them. They've been getting them frustrated. The stupid penalties, the fighting and stuff like that. Corey Perry doing his thing right next to the goalie. He can always stay true to himself and to his style of game, and you got to respect that too. He's trying to stir the pot, kind of get them off their game, but just kind of bit them in the ass for that so far. They just haven't been doing it the right way. But I do agree. I mean, what he said. I mean, the captain, you have to lead by example, and I'm sure he's a great player. I'm sure he's gonna do something game 3 and step up and lead the way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, actually, I was looking at the wrong column in his stat line. He actually had 4 shots the first. I said no shots, no points in the first 2. He had 4 shots. He had 3 in game 1. He was actually he wasn't very good in game 1 either, but at least you saw him a couple of times get a couple looks. He got nothing. He got 1 shot on goal last night, and just a non-impact. The only impact he made was trying to fight Darren Helm, in the third period there.
What did Cooch do? What did Cooch do? What is his stats was? Let me see too.
Well, I mean, you can throw the whole lot in there. Nobody played well for the Lightning. So, yes, he did have 4 shots on goal in the first 2 games. Stupid of me to think he had none, but I was looking at the wrong column. Yeah, he had 3 in game 1, 1 last night, but not good at all. Yeah, Cooch had none last night, -2. So throw him in the mix. Your fellow Nikita, man. Nikita Kashersky could put a better stat line together last night than Nikita Kucherov.
Oh, not a chance. Oh man, no man, don't do that. Don't throw me in the fire like that. No, I'm just saying. Like,
at least show some brimstone last night. A little pushback. You mixed it up in your hockey days.
I'm not that like hot on his playoffs. I'm not hot on that. I mean, a couple of years ago, in 2020, he was much better. I don't know. I mean, just this.
We have timed it nice with some of these player prop calls on Kucherov, though. We've picked the right game to say, hey, he's going to show up and get on the board. We've done that a couple of times.
It's stats wise, yeah, because I mean, look at his minutes. I mean, he's on the peeper, and whenever you give him time, whenever you give him room, he's gonna destroy you, obviously. But they're not giving it to him, and he's just like, remember we were talking about the game with the Rangers. He just like going backwards, slowing it down, like making those soft plays on the blue line and stuff, making those cute plays. Those are the ones that I mean. I feel like he's got to change a little bit in that terms, play a little bit more simple, shoot more, not look for that extra pass. But I mean, he's Nikita Kucherov. He plays in the show. He knows how to done, but it's just, maybe to change that up a little bit, just add something, that edge to his game would, I mean, I think would improve and, help out as well. He's a leader as well. I mean, if you see, whenever, like I was part of the team, whenever you see a skilled guy like that, go out there and bang bodies and block a shot, like the team gets pumped. If you see a guy like that does it, I mean, if you're on the 3rd line, 4th line, you're going to be doing the same thing. You're going to step up too. So I think he's got to lead the way in that kind of aspect of the game as well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm looking at Kucherov's stat line. You're right. No points, -2. And even worse than Stamkos. He's the one that had no shots on goal. At least Stamkos had 1 last night. Nikita Kucherov, no shots on goal, -2, and no points last night in that game 2 victory. Yeah, great job there, Kuch. Terrific job last night in that game. Number 1 bullshit. That was your stat line last night. Number one bullshit. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Yeah, I'm not kidding. It was
No
that
joke,
bad.
no joke, man, no joke.
Yeah, yeah. Throwing a little shade back at him for that press conference he had last year after they won the cup, going after Montreal fans like that. I
Yeah.
don't know. That was not necessary in my opinion, but
I mean,
nevertheless,
people make, different decisions, especially when
yeah.
you're, half an hour in the locker room after you won the Stanley Cup, you know what's going on. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah, a lot of
Three
stuff might
sheets to
come
the
out of your
wind,
mouth.
few drinks in your system. Yeah, yeah. Of
Yeah, a
course.
lot of stuff can come out. I think it's unnecessary to do a press conference when you're already at that kind of state of mind.
Yeah.
To me, do a press conference real quick while you still at it and go celebrate, you
Yeah.
know?
Do it before the celebration starts. Then that's what they should do, and or just do it the next day or some like you got to change it like that. You're right. It's
Trust me, when you win a championship, you need to wait a bunch of days, not next day.
no, exactly. Although I think maybe purposely they have these press conferences with the coach and the players after the champagne celebration happens. It happened with Golden State just a couple nights ago, and they hope to get a nice memorable moment from it.
Hmm.
Some kind of memorable quote, some funny moment, something because of the fact you got all these the coaches and players that are already half in the bag, from celebrating in the locker room and dressing room. So I think they're almost hoping they get some kind of great moment that they can capture. That's why they still do these. So we've talked a lot about Tampa Bay and all their faults and all their failures. And look, to me, Colorado, you're right. First and foremost, the key so far to the first two games, the two wins, has been Colorado just looks faster. And it's not just skating speed, and that's the biggest I think misnomer people have with when we say, "Oh, that team's faster, they've got more speed." It's not just skating speed; it's puck movement speed. It's
Yeah.
thinking the game speed. It's moving the puck at a faster level before the defense can react, before the other team can react. How many goals have we seen from Colorado of the 11 that they scored in the first two games of this series combined, where it was not just their skating speed, but it was their puck movement? Nobody stays stationary. The players are always moving around. The puck's always humming. The puck doesn't stick in one area of the ice. It's going left to right, north and south, east and west. Players are moving around. And what's that doing? They're thinking the game at a high rate, a high level of speed as well, not just skating at a high level and high rate of speed. And what's it doing? It's opening up passing lanes. It's opening up seams. It's opening up lanes to get the puck to the net. That's what it's doing. And that's what you have to do against Tampa Bay, Nikita, because the one thing they've been just amazing at in these Stanley Cup runs is blocking a ton of shots. Hedman does it. McDonough does it. Chernak does it. The whole blue line does it. And then they've got the last line of defense, Vasilevsky, if indeed the puck gets through there. And they've got the defense just off their mark. They've got Vasilevsky moving off his mark. I've never seen Vasilevsky off the angle and given up so many goals where it just looks like he's off his angle. He's not square. And it's because the puck movement, the player movement, and everything that's going on with just this high level of thinking and moving that puck at such a fast level of speed, never mind skating, that's what's doing it. It's what Colorado is doing here in this series to generate that offense, and it's staying one step ahead of Tampa Bay. So it's not just skating speed. It's thinking speed. It's puck movement speed. And Tampa Bay just doesn't look like right now they can keep up with it. And you look at last night in particular, who's winning every single puck battle? Who's
Yep.
winning every single foot race situation for a loose puck? Colorado is, not Tampa Bay. And you're seeing that all over the ice right now. So again, speed and not just the thinking of skating. It's speed in terms of puck movement. It's a high level of thinking speed as well. And Colorado's just crushing them in all those areas.
I agree with you. I mean, they just, it's like I said, it's the same thing, same example with Cooch. Like, whenever, you see it a lot, whenever he gets a pass, he slows it down, like he wants to look at some great cross pass or something like that, and Colorado is way different. They move their feet to support each other. That's what kind of creates the whole chaos. And look how many odd man rushes because of that. I mean, Tampa is kind of, standing and waiting, and, Colorado is just moving their feet, chip by them. And then already, another guy is already moving, going 100 miles an hour to get that puck, and you can see everyone is joining. I mean, they just work as a unit, and they work their feet and create that chaos kind of. And blocking a shot when everyone's moving around like that, when, McKinnon is in the corner, all of a sudden a second later he's already on the blue line with that kind of like that play they always do with a third D. He's up there for the one timer, and just the puck movement. And they use that speed to get open. It's just the play without the puck. And they don't play that style of game where you kind of try to slow down the game, make a nice cue pass and stuff. I mean, kudos to them and, their coaching staff for just having that game plan for them. And I think that's what, Tampa has to do. They simplify the game. Like I said, tougher game, body, to slow those guys down. That's what they got to do. But I mean, it's not easy, obviously. But they just got few players got to change that game, and do a little bit of grinding and see if that will help out. And I think they got to shoot more. You just see so much of those, trying
You
to
got to have the
cross
puck
pass
to
and
shoot,
stuff like
right?
that.
That's the
Yeah.
problem. Yep.
Well, yeah, they got to get it. I mean, you got to get it. They got to win the battle. They got to be the first ones in the battle. They got to want to battle with those guys, and just it once again, it's simple. I think once you pound him once, twice, three times, the guys, will stop wanting to be the first on the puck. They will not, move their feet that quick, to the boards and get that puck. So that's how you win. Just shift by shift. You're not going to win right away, obviously, but that's the way I see it right now.
Yeah, I mean, a lot's got to change. And here's the issue. And by the way, I want to shout out a lot of Colorado players. We shouted out who sucked for Tampa Bay, and that was pretty much everybody. Goalie on out. Hedman looked like like I say, Hedman is looking like some guy that just got called up from the AHL, and he's in the playoffs only because someone else got hurt. That's what he looks like right now, and Colorado's made him look like that. It's shocking. This is one of the best defense, and he is still a great defenseman. I mean, this series isn't going to change that, even though he's had a rough series so far. But that's how good Colorado's playing right now. They're making Victor Edmond look like a chump right now, essentially, and that's just shows you just how great they're playing. But we know nobody was good for Tampa. We talked about Stamkos, not a good first two games at all. Cooch, no shots on goal last night. Not a good game from him. Let's shout out what was good about Colorado. How about Big Val Nichushkin? Big Val, big profit for me here in the playoffs. I've been on the Valerie Nichushkin props a shit ton, whether it's points, goals, anything. And they keep on cashing in, and he's going to get well paid in his next contract. This is an eye-opening playoff run for Valerie Nichushkin. He has put himself into a situation where he's going to get some big mucho dinero from somebody down the road. This has been a phenomenal postseason for him.
I hope he does. Yeah, I mean, he had a phenomenal season as well. Yeah, like not just the playoffs. But I think he had 51 points in 62 games or something like that. I mean, that's a huge, I would say breakthrough. I mean, he was a high draft pick and a lot of hopes for Dallas Stars when he was playing out there, and he's that big power forward. I feel like he got lighter. You know what I mean? I'm not sure on his weight and everything and stuff like that, but I feel like this season he is much faster too. I feel like,
He's always had the
whatever's
size, but yeah, he's moving
yeah,
faster up there. Yep.
whatever's Colorado doing out there. I mean, the water or whatever they're doing out there, making the guys so much faster, and probably either the training or something, and just the style of game, whatever they're preaching. Jared Bednar's preaching out there, and I mean he's playing, and then he's been phenomenal for him this season. He stepped up in this role, playing between those great guys too. Mix it in with his size and speed. It's tough to stop, when you have that size and the speed. And good for him. I mean, he's been in a while in the league. That's the thing. And a lot of guys were kind of, a lot of people think are, he's that high draft pick and kind of like, not didn't pan out, but he's blossoming this season, and hopefully he keep it going and get his deserved contract. That's great.
No, absolutely, and he's going to get it, and he just earned it. He's been phenomenal. This has been just a terrific playoffs for Val. Big Val, I call him. Valerie Nichushkin here for the Dallas Star, Tampa Bay Lightning, former, or Colorado Avalanche, former Dallas Stars, of course, years ago. But it's just amazing the jump. I mean, this is actually his third season with Colorado, and even the first 2 years, 65, 55 games, 14 points, and only 4 points. or 27 points, I should say, 21 points the last 2 years, and then the jump to 52, in the
It could be a
regular season
contract
this year.
contract year.
Yep,
Contract year.
it's amazing.
It's always that thing, the contract year, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So you never know. That's the thing. I don't know if hopefully gonna get paid. If he's not gonna get paid, then you might go like arbitration or whatever you do. I don't know the rules, but um maybe someone like a GM would be thinking, hey, that's a contract year, look at his stats before that, and you would be scared. If it's not Colorado giving the contract and he's gonna go to the other team and he's not playing on maybe that top line, do you think he's going to produce that much? Do you think he's going to be worth that money? Um,
That's
but
going to be the buyer's hesitation for any team interested in the offseason
exactly.
and Big Val is, well, hold on now. You're talking about a guy with 27 points, 21 points in, 50, 60 games the last couple years. Now, all of a sudden this year, you're talking about 52 and 62 in the regular season, like point per game, almost point per game player type shit. And
Yeah.
now all of a sudden we're going to give you we're going to back up the Brinks truck for you now all of a sudden. And we have that
Yeah.
trust, that faith, and that confidence in the player and in the person. Put in the work, be ready to go year in and year out to try to duplicate the results that he has put forth this year.
Well,
That's
depending
always
where
that
you're gonna
mental
throw him.
mental decision that a GM has to make. Yep.
Depending where you see him. I mean, if the GM sees him also in the top line, why not? It just depends, what team he goes. Maybe
Yep.
maybe there's three players that you absolutely cannot pull out the first line. Then he's playing second line. Who's he playing with? What is he right now playing with? Rantanen and Langeskog, and or McKinnon.
Landeskog and McKinnon right now.
And
Yep.
there you go. I mean, it's the same thing we can talk about. Kane, Vander Kane. You know what I mean? Like those guys make other guys better. Like Crosby will do, McDavid will do, McKinnon will do. All those guys will make you a better player. But I mean, if he's gonna get paid, I mean, guaranteed money, good for him. I mean, I'm all for that and stuff. So, and hopefully he gets the same opportunity that he has with Colorado. If he stays with Colorado, I mean, he probably will stay the same role, and maybe he's gonna have another, a few great years like that and get paid again, maybe something. I don't know. How old is he now, by the way?
Oh, Valerie Nichushkin, he's 27.
27. So what he'll probably want like a 4-year deal, right? 4 years, something like that.
Yeah,
At
it's going to be
least.
longer. It's definitely ain't going to be 2 years, $5 million, which is the contract he's coming off of the last couple of seasons. So yeah, there's going to be a big term increase and a big, obviously, money increase.
Oh yeah, because I mean that's his last chance to check in, right? Is that
Yep.
what they say? Yeah, last chance to check in, real big money. So
Yep.
you got to do it. He's got to cash in. His agent's got some work to do for sure.
Yeah, he's like there's been so many good stories. I mean, Lehkonen, of course, has been great. Landeskog, Devon Taves gets a point. Burakovsky, it's sad to see him get injured last night because he's starting to heat up again. He had 2 points before leaving that game due to injury, and now there's some worry that he might miss, a couple of games at least in this series. So for Andre Burakovsky, that is most unfortunate. The game
Maybe
winning
Kadri
goal in
steps
game
in.
one. Yeah. Yeah. And Kadri's still out. Yeah, Kadri might come back at some point in this series, but not for sure yet. And now Burakovsky day to day. So we'll have to see his status. But boy, he had 2 points last night, another goal, and then, of course, the overtime winning goal in game one. So unfortunate. Cale Makar continues to just be magnificent. 2 goals, 2 points last night. He actually was off the score sheet in game one, but that didn't last long. Bounced back strong for 2 points last night. And I'm seeing a performance pattern with Cale Makar, too, that he gets no points in a game. Next game, he's being a big factor offensively. That's been a pretty good pattern with him throughout the playoffs. McKinnon has been doing his thing, of course, been active in the offensive zone. The blue line just skates like the wind, all 6 of them. And that's where the big difference is showing up. You got a lot more clunkers in terms of skating and in terms of just overall speed, puck movement from the blue line with Tampa compared to Colorado, where it's Devon Taves, it's Cale Makar, it's Bowen Byram, who's another great skater on this Colorado blue line. Josh Manson can skate pretty well, too. I mean, we think of him as a defensive-minded guy, but he's no slouch. And then you got Johnson and Johnson, Eric and Jack, who are veteran defensemen who just round out just a terrific 1 through 6 for Colorado on the blue line. So now the question, as we start to look ahead, Nikita, to Game 3 on Monday night here, as you can see, it's minus 110, even money both sides. The total 6 in this one. So how about that? Even money. Tampa Bay not getting any home ice edge, or they're not in minus one. They're not even minus 130 home favorites here in this Game 3, down 2-0. It's even money. Odds
Well, the
make pricing.
7-0 will do that to you. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
If it was like an overtime kind of win for Colorado or very tight, I think it would be definitely different. But now when it was a 7 rip,
Yeah.
I don't
I
know.
think that
They'll
influences the
mess with you.
line.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yep.
I mean, definitely. I mean, it's a panic mode right now. People who are putting money on Lightning. Especially after the game, they were like, "Holy, what's going on out there?" So that's why the money line is even like that. So that's, I think, the last game did it. I'm sure if you were looking, I'm not sure. I don't know if they do the line for game 3 even before game 2. I don't know if you have that stats.
The
I'm sure
look
it was
ahead
totally
line, as they
different.
call it. They do this in football, Nikita, all season in the NFL, where, yeah, it could be week 2 of the NFL season, but they've
Yeah.
already got week 3 lines for next week posted.
So
And you're
so
going to
what was
see a
it?
difference pre-week 2 and post-week 2 for those week 3
Mhm.
lines. And it'll be influenced by how the week 2 games play out. Same thing here. Probably gets influenced. I know it gets influenced, this line, even money, by a 7-0 beatdown, yeah, in Game 2 by the Colorado Avalanche. There's no question. That is a great point by you, and that's exactly how the odds makers and the betting markets operate. There's no question. Total didn't adjust, though. I mean, both games went over the total, exactly 7 goals, 4-3 and 7-0 the first 2 games. Yet the totals, I could only look over, like in terms of the total, because when I look at this series, is Tampa Bay going to get an emotional boost from the home crowd at Amalie Arena? Yes, of course. Are they going to get an emotional lift from the home crowd for Game 3, a game that they've got to have? Yes, of course. Are they going to try to come out strong? I'm sure they will. But is a change of venue and going from Denver to Tampa, is it going to make Colorado slower? Is it going to make Tampa Bay faster? Is it going to make Tampa Bay just changing venues is going to make Tampa Bay be able to skate better with this Colorado team, which is something we have not seen here in the first 2 games? I have my doubts. And look, it was fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I took Tampa both games. Tampa off a loss. I thought you had to look that way in Game 2. I thought Game 1 with the 9-day layoff for Colorado, Tampa Bay, that would be a game that was there for the taking for them. And here they are down 2-0. So you can understand my hesitation for back in Tampa again one more time. I think if you like Tampa in this game, I would say probably bet the first period only, or at least if you're going to trust them to win the game, which I think, with what I've seen, even going back home, it's to me, just going back home is not going to all of a sudden make you be able to skate better with this Colorado team, because they just look like they're too fast for you, and just going back home is not going to erase the fact you played a lot of playoff games this year. Colorado hasn't played. Colorado is sweeping the first round against Nashville. They had a 6-gamer against St. Louis. At least they didn't go 7, and then they swept Edmonton.
Sweet. Yeah.
So you talk about 4-8. They've only played 14 playoff games, in 3 series. Tampa had to go 6 with the Rangers. They had to go 7 with Toronto. They did sweep Florida, but they still played more games. And then you have the 2 years back to back where you're going the distance and you're winning the Stanley Cup. I was wondering, is the fatigue and the physical wall, are they going to hit it finally? Because I
For
said
sure.
maybe they hit it in New York. Maybe they hit it with Florida. Maybe they hit it at some point this year in the playoffs earlier than now. It looks like they're hitting it now, partially because maybe they're tired, and partially because when you're somewhat fighting some kind of physical stress and fatigue, Colorado ain't the team you want to play when you're in that situation, because they just push pace, speed, consistently move the puck, make you go left, right, east, west, north, south, trying to defend these fuckers. And you just can't, keep up with it. And that's what it looks like right now. So, yeah, they'll get a lift from the home crowd, but will an emotional lift from the home crowd alone be able to change the tenor of this series for the Tampa Bay Lightning? I'll be honest, I'm not convinced it will at this moment.
And that's the thing, yeah. I'm not betting on Tampa. Like, I mean, just because they're coming home, maybe these 2 days, giving them a break. If it was, for example, a game, um, what is it? Yesterday's game was it yesterday? Oh yeah, so it's one game. Yeah, I don't know about that. One day off, right? I don't know. To me, I think yes, the fatigue. Um, when they came to Colorado, I never played in Denver, never played there, so I guess everyone's talking how hard it is to play out there with the altitude and everything.
The thin air,
That's a big
altitude is
factor.
tough. Yep.
Yeah. Um, to me, I think it's going to be a goalie factor. It's just I feel like they should come out, pepper the goalie, do what St. Louis was doing, to Colorado when they beat them, couple of games, and just the way they come out, what kind of style of play they're gonna do. I mean, they're gonna come out with a lot of energy and stuff like that, but just what kind of game will their top guys bring? Is it gonna be the same kind of fancy plays, soft plays, like little those passes, trying to look for an extra pass, or is it gonna be a really hard-nosed game, a lot of shots, shot first mentality? And playing the body. You got to lay the body, even if you're Kucherov or you're, whoever you are, you have to finish your check. Just let them know you're there. You know what I mean? Stick them, let them know you're there. Kind of that. And if they're gonna change that, I think they can take that game. If they don't, if they kind of keep playing, the leader's gonna keep playing that same game. This, skill guy's gonna keep playing that, soft, cute game. Nothing's gonna change. Nothing's gonna help. Colorado too fast. With that, too skilled, and to play that game with them, no, you can't do that. And I think Tampa, and I think Colorado takes the series. I think they're gonna win the series for sure. Like I told you, it's gonna be either 5 or 6 games tops. Um, who knows? Maybe it'll be four.
Uh, okay, I want to make sure I've got this right. I want to make sure I'm not seeing things here. Am I honestly seeing a 2.5 team total for Colorado tomorrow for Game 3? Is that real life? Is that serious? Is that really like wow? Did they think just going back home and Vasilevsky's going to turn into a brick mortar, and a brick wall again? They think just going back home to Game 3 for Tampa Bay means this Colorado offense is just going to just completely shut down? Like what? What are we do? What are we thinking here with a 2.5 team total for Colorado? I know it's -143. You got to lay a little bit of a price, but I, I just basically gave it away right there. And I know we got the show tomorrow. We're gonna have two guests on tomorrow, by the way, for our live show at 2 p.m. Eastern. Dan Sexton and Curtis Gettig will be with us tomorrow. But when you look at it here, with this team total, I mean, how do you not trust Colorado to get to three in this game? I know
They,
Tampa's going to want to be better defensively. They're going to have last line change. That's going to help John Cooper a little bit, and he's good with that on home ice. And there's definitely a desperation factor and a focus on getting better defensively. I get all of that, but at the end of the day,
experience.
are they capable of keeping Colorado below 3 goals? I don't know if I've seen anything in the first two games that tells me Tampa Bay is capable of doing that. So that team total immediately stands out to me.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. I mean, experience might be, finals, Colorado coming to Tampa, emotions still. Like Colorado also understands that, if they win this game, they're pretty much the Stanley Cup champs, and in their mind, they might be, thinking, I mean, it depends. Obviously, everyone's different, but they might be thinking like, shit, that's it. We win this, it's over. Like we got this. And so for them, emotions could be too. Playing at the, Tampa's rink is going to be loud as hell. All that pressure. There could be like looking at McKinnon though. I mean, he's an awesome player, but like game one, you could see he was just for me at least the way I at least I look at it, I feel like he was nervous. You know what I mean? That's the first time in the cup. He's a big leader of the team. You're looking up to him, and like he made a great move out there, Chernak, and then all of a sudden he's not looking up, with a shoot. He's just trying to get it on net. Kind of like that was a great chance for him to score a goal out there. It would have been a huge one and a beautiful one as well. And he didn't look up and just right into gut, Vasi. And I think that was kind of showed that he's nervous too. Those guys are nervous, and it was the first game, Stanley Cup Finals. They look great, yesterday. But what is it for him? He's got no goals right now, right? In the cup.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
no goals right now, and that's another thing for Colorado. Like, look, McKinnon hasn't had a goal yet, and they're
Yep.
doing it with without him scoring. Makar stepped up, but
He's
he
got
didn't
2 points,
score.
2 assists, but yeah, no goals. Yep.
No goals, yeah, and then Makar didn't score anything in the first game. So the ability of Colorado to do it throughout the whole lineup is just terrific. But I feel like the factors for the for game three would be just Tampa's experience, home ice, being able to match the lineups and the changes and stuff, and just a must game win for Tampa, and then also Colorado thinking if they win it's over kind of type of thing, and that might be a little bit of a factor, the emotions. I think that's it. But like I said, Colorado wins this series.
Yeah, I think they are. I think they are. Of course, we could be back to we could be going back to Denver in Game 5, 2-2. And if it is, and hats off to Tampa if they win the next two home games, which they're very capable of doing. But this is not the Rangers now. I keep going back to that, and you brought up a great point that Colorado's up 2-0 in this series with Nate McKinnon without a goal. Okay, what if he fucking turns it up a notch or two here in Tampa Bay and has a 2-goal game or a hat trick game like he's capable of doing, like we've seen in the playoffs? And you get him now all of a sudden lighting the lamp, then it becomes just even more insurmountable for Tampa Bay here in this series. And by the way, if you're thinking Colorado can't go into Tampa Bay and win one, if not two games, think again. Because Colorado, Nikita, they are undefeated on the road here in the Stanley Cup playoffs. They have not lost a single road game here in the playoffs. Think about it. They won both games in Nashville in that 4-game sweep. They won all 3 games in St. Louis against the Blues. They won game 3, they won game 4, and they won the game 6 series clinching game with that late goal in the third period to beat St. Louis. And then they won both games in Edmonton against the Oilers in that 4-game sweep. So this team is a perfect 7-0 here in the Stanley Cup playoffs on the road. So don't think for a second they can't go to Tampa Bay and win.
I don't get the odds then. Why the odds are like that then? I don't get it. Why is it even then? You know what I mean? Even after 7 rip, and then knowing that Colorado hasn't lost a game away, and it's still right
Sounds
there,
like odds maker Nikita thinks Colorado should be favored here.
Uh, I feel like they should. I mean, I don't know. I feel like they should be the favorite here. Um, all the pressure on Tampa, not gonna lie, all the pressure on Tampa, and throughout the whole playoffs, Colorado hasn't lost a game, on the away rink. Maybe actually playing at home gets Colorado more emotional, get a little, for them to, old school kind of term, squeeze the stick a little harder. Maybe that's it too. Maybe when they go on the road, they're a little bit more relaxed. I remember my playoffs with the rating, I played away much better as well. I don't know, just kind of
Yeah,
more
I've heard that.
relaxed.
Yep, some people are. Some players are. Yep, they're more relaxed
Yeah,
away from
you,
home. Yep,
you
and you
try to
bond
play
more
it
as a team. You're together. You're on the road. You're not distracted by families and other distractions and other
exactly,
shit going on. It's all about the team.
exactly.
It's all about the focus on the game. Yep,
Exactly. You try to play it simple, especially for the skill guys. You're not trying to impress anyone in the stands, get the crowd just being like, "Oh my God," you just play that simple game. You play for the win. Doesn't matter if you win by 1 goal, it's still a W right there.
that's
So
right.
who knows? We'll see tomorrow.
Yeah, we will see. It's a fascinating game. It's just I'm just baffled and just blown away by this team total being 2.5 for Colorado. I'm going back through every road game. Let me go through every road game. Throw out the home games because we know at home they've really lit the lamp pretty well. But on the road this year, here's what Colorado's done: scored 7 against Nashville in Game 3, 5 against Nashville in Game 4, 5 against St. Louis in Game 3, 6 against St. Louis in Game 4, 3 against St. Louis in Game 6, 4 against Edmonton on the road in Game 3, 6 against Edmonton in the closeout game, Game 4. So they have scored 3 goals in or more
Ridiculous.
in every road game in the Stanley Cup playoffs, and we got a 2.5 here with this team total.
What about
This is
McKinnon
either the
on the away
fishiest shit I've
games?
ever seen, or this is just a gift being given to me. I don't know which one yet.
What about McKinnon in the away games? What about McKinnon in the away games? Is he scoring more in the away games or is he scoring more at home games?
Let's do some analysis here. We got a couple minutes still, and then we'll wrap it up. But
Okay.
yeah, well, let me just I can find that out for you right now. I'll just bring up all right, Nick McKinnon stat line. Here we go. I had it here for a minute. Okay, here we go. So on the road in Nashville, he had 2 goals and 2 points. And in that series, he had 3 goals at home, but he had 2 on the road, and he scored a goal
Okay.
in each of the road games there. At home against St. Louis, he had no goals in the first 2 games. Then he had no goals in the next 2 in St. Louis. The hat trick at home against St. Louis in Game 5. No goals at St. Louis. And then home against Edmonton, he had 2 goals at home, 1 in each game. And then on the road, he had no goals in the 1 road game, 1 goal in the 4th game. So
Ooh.
on the road, he's been spotty.
Spotty. Yeah.
Spotty. Yeah.
Interesting.
I'm going to be kind and
Interesting.
say spotty. But yeah, it's not the production you would have thought. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, maybe that's his time to step up. He hasn't
But he's
scored
been
right
quiet in the
now.
first 2 games at home. So, you leave the door open that he's going to be able to, make something happen here on the road when the scene shifts to Tampa Bay. But like I said, I'm going to stick by what I said, Nikita, in that I am concerned that, just a change in venue and going to Tampa Bay. I don't know if
Hmm.
that alone is going to change the disadvantages that Tampa clearly looks like they have after the first 2 games. And you've got to somehow win puck battles. You've got to somehow out battle and outskate the other player on the other team, Colorado, for those loose pucks. And if they're getting to things quicker than you are, getting to pucks, getting on pucks quicker than you are, you know that's kind of something that going back home is not going to help you overcome that. It's just it is what it is. They're faster than you. They're beating you to these loose pucks time and time again. It's happened all over the ice in Game 1 and in Game 2. So you know,
But
and I think also the fact there's only 1 day off the rest of the series in between games, that's more bad for Tampa, in my
yeah,
opinion, because of all the hockey they've played the last few years.
one thing I leave you with is momentum changes.
Yeah,
When you look at the Rangers in Tampa, same thing. I mean, first game 6-2, second game, remember they still won.
yeah,
And then going into game 3, once again, must win for Tampa, must win for Rangers, and Rangers were great that game too. Um, and that goal was a momentum change. So I would be looking for if I was looking at the game, I would be looking for those some kind of type of momentum change. Anything
yeah.
can happen, and if something happens out there in Tampa that you could see a you know what is it like a total momentum change out there in the game, and then all of a sudden, what if it's 2-2 and going back to Colorado? Are you still sticking with Colorado win this series?
That we'll cross that bridge when we get there. How about that? How about we do that? But I will
If
say
there is
this.
some kind of momentum change like
Yeah,
it was with Tampa, and remember I told you, I wrote to you, I was like, Tampa now wins 3 in a row. I wrote it to you, and they won 3 in a row, and just a gutsy call on me. If there is some kind of momentum change and it's like a definite one, like you could see it, oof, watch out for Colorado. But I'm still right now, I'm sticking with Colorado, yeah. But
of
if
course, I have to right now. I will. And look, Tampa's got to win both home games.
yeah,
Then we
for
have a
sure.
series. Anything less, it's done. And it's going to be then a matter of just when Colorado finishes the series, not if they finish the series. Tampa
Yeah,
Bay
I
has to
agree.
hold serve. They got to get game 3 and they have to get game 4. It's really that simple. And then, but if that happens, let's say it's all hypothetical right now, but let's say that happens. The
Hmm.
pressure then does shift to Colorado going back home,
Big
at
time.
2-2. And that would put this series in a completely different complexion, at that point. So
Of course,
that would
then
be
it's a must.
fascinating if
Then
we
it's a
get there.
must win. Yeah, because it's a must win for Colorado at home
Yep.
after that. And Tampa is kind of like, all right, let's wait for them to, shoot themselves in the leg. Come all emotional and everything, which is going to be no panic mode. Play our style and stuff like they did with Rangers. That's what they did with them. Well, let's see if Tampa will be able to pull this off again like that. I mean, that would be incredible if they do. That would be something.
No doubt about that. No question. Looking forward to Game 3 on Monday night. And that will be a betcast, a live Ice Guys betcast, 8 p.m. Eastern, Game 3 Monday night. If you want to join us on the betcast, send me a DM or email on Twitter, or email bobano350@gmail.com, on Twitter @Bobano, and I'll make sure I send you a link for the betcast. It's really a virtual bar and a pub while we watch the game. We're just sitting there watching the game. We're commenting on it as it goes, making some live bets, live wagers as the game goes on. We got our favorite beverage with us, beer, you name it, whatever you want to drink on the bet. It's like a pub virtually, but bar and a pub to watch the game. That's the betcasts are a lot of fun, and we're looking forward to another one on Monday night for Game 3, and we'll do one for Game 4 as well on Wednesday night. Could be the last two betcasts of the year. So you never know. So make sure you join us for that later this week. Great stuff from our special guest, Nikita Kashersky. We'll get a best bet from him for Game 3 before we wrap up the show. Before we get to that, DraftKings Sportsbook, official sports betting partner of the NHL. New customers bet just $1 on any NHL team, get $150 in free bets if they win. If DraftKings Sportsbook isn't available in your state or province, you can play for huge cash prizes with DraftKings daily fantasy hockey contests. DraftKings giving all new customers a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes with their first deposit. Download the DraftKings app, sign up for an account, use the promo code THPN, bet just $1 on any NHL team, get $150 in free bets if they win. That's promo code THPN at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. Must be 21 years of age or older, must reside in a DraftKings Sportsbook state or province. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, sign up for an account, use the promo code THPN. All right. I'll save my best bet for tomorrow because we're going to have Monday's show, and we'll break it down further. Side total props for Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final. Two special guests joining us tomorrow, so looking forward to that. But Nikita, great show. Lots of fun. This was a lot of fun. We broke
Thanks.
this game. We broke this game. We broke this series down to the tits. I mean, every single last an element and every nth degree. We basically broke this series down, in this game 3 as well, for Monday night down. But before we leave, Nikita, your first ever Ice Guys best bet. If you had to pick one for Game 3, what are you going with?
That's a tough one. I wanna have the interesting series. So I wanna have, Tampa. So I would say I put on Tampa. Tampa wins.
He's on record, Tampa Bay to at least get back in the series for Game 3. Now, if they win Game 3, as you say, that's Tampa Bay minus 110, best bet for Nikita Kashersky for Game 3. But let's say they win Game 3. Would you be coming back in their corner in Game 4, or would that be a wake-up call for Colorado? Put their foot down, make it 3-1, and put Tampa behind the 8 ball. You think it's going Tampa-Colorado, Game 3, Game 4, or do you think it could actually go Tampa-Tampa? They sweep it home.
Depends, like I said, momentum. It will all depend on the game. Like I'll be watching the game. If Tampa wins, just in terms of how they win it. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? If it's like Vasilevsky absolutely, kills it and just, saves their lives and they win by a squeezer, I'd be betting Colorado after that. They'd just be like, that's it, Vasilevsky. I mean,
A
he's done what
squeezer.
he
I like that. A squeezer. I've never heard that
yeah.
before. Yeah.
Yeah. And but if you see Tampa absolutely change the style, and it's a very even game, and Tampa is the Tampa that we used to see, then I'd be saying, okay, Tampa might take it, and I'll be probably betting Tampa again in Game 4. At least I'd want them to win, because I'd want that series go long. I don't want that full rip. Not a fun Stanley Cup then. I want a Game 7, double OT, some kind of overtime win, and those are the best ones.
Yeah, give us a longer series and give us something like Game 1, where we went to overtime. Don't give us these landslide blowouts like Game 2 that was for Colorado. We'll see. It would be unfair to say this series. You've noticed that despite my extreme concern and worry for the Tampa Bay Lightning, have I once said on this show today with Nikita that Tampa Bay is done? I have not. I respect the pedigree of this team enough to not say that, but I am gravely concerned. And as far as it goes for me, they have to win the next 2 games, not just tomorrow night. They've got to get game 4 as well. Hold serve at home and then put some real series pressure on the Colorado Avalanche for game 5. That's what's going to have to happen for the Tampa Bay Lightning. And a whole lot's going to have to change for them between game 2 and game 3. Great show. Incredible stuff. Nikita, great job. Thanks for joining us on this Sunday edition of the Ice Guys.
Thanks, Ian. I really appreciate it. I had a lot of fun. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Next season, if you're around, we'll call on you and definitely we'll bring you back
Well,
on
I'm
the
not
show.
going anywhere.
No doubt, no doubt. We're going to have more player guests through the regular season. This year, we only had players on, current former players on during the playoffs for the most part. But, next year, we're going to get them on throughout the regular season as well. Definitely makes the show better, in my opinion, for sure. Great stuff. Hit the like button if you're watching on YouTube. We appreciate it. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live on YouTube. And if you can't watch the show live, you can download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and iHeartRadio. Download the Ice Guys podcast when you can't watch the show live. For our special guest, Nikita Kashersky, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Sunday. Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. Have a great
Thank you.
Father's Day Sunday, and we will talk to you again tomorrow on Monday, live, 2 p.m. Eastern, for another edition of the Ice Guys presented by the Hockey Podcast Network.